just one of those, I guess you could call it like a blob squatch. That's kind of what they call like
I like that blob squatch.
Unidentified.
Oh my God.
Furry object.
Yes.
Blob squatch.
Yes, furry.
I love blob
That's
squatch.
my new favorite thing. Blob
But
squatch.
I am a fan of blob squatch.
So this other one is, so I am nerding out a little bit on you guys, so I'm sorry.
Okay.
But Dr. John Bindernagel, he's a wildlife biologist. He actually got his degree from Madison, Wisconsin. So Wisconsin pride. But he's one that isn't talked about very often, but he's like, I really like him because to me, he's taking a look at like evidences, like the footprints, the eyewitness. Well, and then I have to mention the hair thing too, but I'm putting that aside for the second, but just so I can move on with this. But he's just really interesting because he does push the science community to think this is what we have, so we need to do something with it because we're investigators, we're scientists, we need to look into it. So I really like his mindset. He's just very open-minded, and like even if he's wrong, at least he's open-minded enough to listen to people and look into it.
Yeah, I like that. That's cool.
Are you going to play the video, or are we just supposed to look at it later?
No,
okay. Okay, because I'm going to step up for just a moment.
I'm not going to play the 12 minutes.
Oh, okay.
What did you need to do?
Step out of the room.
Oh, do you want me to wait or?
Nope, you can play it.
Okay. Let's see here. I just wanted to, so this one was called Sasquatch Illustrated Lecture Part 3, Skepticism and Scientific Aversion Explored. And I just really liked this quote that he
became a science commentator, almost a philosopher of science, and he was very strong about skepticism.
Really
he said,
for some reason. Can you hear that?
Of science, and
yes,
he was very strong about skepticism. He said, we must be skeptical.
Yeah,
I can't.
But he cautions us about if we're being too skeptical by saying, but if you're only skeptical, then no idea makes it through to you. Every now and then, a new idea turns out to be on the mark, valid and wonderful. If you're only skeptical, you're going to miss the transforming discoveries in science, and this is strong, and you will be obstructing understanding and progress. That's pretty strong language. And
I just thought that was interesting. I really liked that quote.
Yeah, that's.
But yeah, so this is a guy I think he's really fascinating. He's passed away, but yeah, he's got interesting work out there.
Cool.
Yeah, and I guess what I was going to say about the hair sample, and I just was watching a Les Stroud video because Les Stroud also has had Bigfoot encounters, the Les Stroud, and he has this video on his YouTube channel, which I'll also link. But there have been collections of hair that have been sent to places and come back as unidentified. And it's just very interesting because it seems like there's nothing more nothing more happening with that. Like where is the public domain information about these unknown DNA samples?
That's a good question.
It's like every time they go and they get it back and it's unknown, but then it's like, well, then what? What's happening to that data?
And like, what is, so it's an unknown, right? It's like an unknown, something that's not been cataloged yet. Well, what do we know about?
So catalog it.
Right, so catalog it as something.
Right.
And some of
the
DNA. Some of the stuff that comes back unidentified too isn't that it's not it's not that it's not not that it's not known, but that it's not a good enough sample too. And so it's like comes back like a diluted, or like it wasn't a clear like sample. Like the test was something in it made it kind of be borked. So not all of it is just straight up. It's something completely different. Sometimes it's just that the sample isn't good enough to actually.
Oh, like it might be degraded or.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or just not enough of it. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. Like, so like there are times where it's like, okay, well, why are you following up in any way?
Right.
And if you are, like, what are you doing to follow up? And how do you follow up to something?
Right.
Okay, so you have an unknown sample. What do you do from there? Do you just keep going out and trying to find more? Like, what if you can't? Okay, well, I think that's kind of the problem too, is that there's a lot of like skepticism on, oh, well, it's not really a thing. So like,
and there's skepticism
much...
even within the scientific community though, too. And that's where some of the issues come in. But like, not all of them are, but there are a lot, and it does cause obstacles.
Right. It's hard to be taken seriously when it's all skepticism.
Right. And then one last thing I'll note is, and this is going to be in the video that I link, there are sometimes really strange experiences with the one I watched a video today. The guy said that him and a friend, like, they had actually hit a Sasquatch, alleged Sasquatch, and they called the wildlife and the Fish and Wildlife, and they brought the body and them to their building, and they were going to sign paperwork. And then as they were about to do that, like 2 government officials came in and they're like, you need to come with us. And they're like, okay. And then they brought them back out to the site, and they're like, what you saw is a bear. And like, it's just like so weird. And that it's not a solo experience. Like, there are other encounters.
Sounds like a movie.
I know. It sounds fake.
I just want to know, like, why is it such a secret?
I know.
Yeah. Like,
maybe
why?
I don't understand that either. I asked the same question. Like, why?
Right?
What's the point? Why cover it up?
I mean, there's a lot of reasons why they could cover it up, especially if it's something on their end.
I mean, like an experiment gone wrong.
Something like that, yeah.
That is a theory. That is a theory that it's a government experiment that had, but yeah, it's so interesting. There's lots.
5G is going to turn us all into Sasquatch. Just kidding.
From Sasquatch and the Yeti and the Bigfoot, we've got the Mokele, Mopembe, and the Ropin, and the other prehistoric survivors. Angie, you had a question on page like 202-ish about the creationists.
I don't know how the book numbers translate from book to Kindle or iBooks. That's where I got it.
Right, and depending how big the fonts are. And...
Yeah,
that's fair.
I thought it was interesting that he did point out that like some creationists have an interest in cryptozoology because they are motivated by the idea that discovering like a living dinosaur like Nessie, or something that seems old, would discredit or destroy evolutionary theory, to justify a belief that the universe is just a few thousand years old. So not to go into like religion, and that's such a personal thing, but I'll just like speak from my own experience. Like, I believe that science has proven evolution. I don't know to what someone believes is the beginning of that is up to each person, but like there's carbon dating and proof that the earth is like billions of years old, and like we know based on like fossils and things found that like dinosaurs and people were not on the earth at the same time. And so the best example I could come up with is, so here in Texas, there's a state park called Dinosaur Valley State Park, and it's really cool. And it's like located, I can't remember the name of the river, but it's like the Permian Basin something, and there was a lot of dinosaur activity here. And so you can actually go there and see like dinosaur footprints in the riverbed. Like the water is super clear. It's sort of like a limestone looking sort of, yeah. So it's really cool. And you can, like, you can't, like, I mean, there's like roped off where there's actually prints who everybody's not walking on them and eroding it more than it already.
I'm not trying to carve out a piece.
Yeah, and so there are many different prints, and so, oh, they got really close to that one, I guess. But
oh, that's not even why I clicked it. I just was like, oh, that's cool. That's a nice comparison.
Yeah, it's a really cool place to go, and I mean, they have these like gaudy dinosaurs.
Oh yeah,
that's to draw people in.
That's cool.
So, but it's like right down the road, like as you're going to the park, there's a place on the right hand side of the road that's like the Creationism Museum. And it's like there was some point where somebody had found the dinosaur prints, and then they put human footprints. They like sort of like carved them out of the stone.
Okay, because I remember when they found them.
Yes,
I remember that too, actually.
They used it as proof that, oh, dinosaurs and humans were like on the earth at the same time. And so, and it's not even like, it's not like all creationists, it's more like specifically young earth creation.
Yeah, the young earth, yeah.
So they, you know, are trying to prove that, oh, like the earth is not old, the humans and dinosaurs were all here at the same time, and evolution is fake and everything. And so, yeah, it's sort of like if you go to the museum, I think like they talk about like that is still like a fact, but it's not like the park itself is, no, here's like the science, the dinosaurs were here like this many, you know,
billions of years
ago, and they show like all the different like settling of the like rock.
Yep. Even when you go, we stopped at the Petrified Forest National Park, and it's really cool how they show how long ago that these were petrified, and how the earth shifted to get these tropical plants up here, well, out west, out there. You know, so it was, you know, so yeah, you need fact, you need science to.
Yeah, and the whole thing originally with the footprints, I mean, it even was sort of like, it was just to be a tourist trap to make money, sort of after the Depression. That's when it kind of was happening.
The Valley or the other one, the Creationist?
Like just Dinosaur Valley in general. Like it was just somebody like out of their house that like made these fake, like they were making like fake replicas of fossils, and then they were like, yes, we found human footprints and like all this.
Wow.
And then it was sort of like the young earth creationists were like, hey, yeah, wow, this proves everything. Like
that's so interesting. That's so interesting that you mentioned that, because I never heard that it was a fake thing. And
well, yeah, totally fake. And like they came out and whoever had made it admitted that they had made it and that it was fake.
What? That's so weird that
people still believe that it's real.
Yeah, it's just like that's the only circulation that I've heard, is that it's that they found it.
Yeah,
that's because your dad told you that.
Well, when I went there,
I don't know if he's a young earth creationist or not. I'm not, but that doesn't mean that I heard the contrary.
No, when he went there and posted pictures, he's like, oh, isn't that the place where they found the dinosaur footprints next to the human ones? And I was like, yeah, but it's fake. And he was like, oh, I heard it's not fake. It's like, well, I was there.
Well, fake. That's also part of the problem with world knowledge too, is that the interesting story bits get told. Yeah. But then if it gets discounted, then there's not always a follow-up into that, unless you look it up.
That is true too.
That is very true. Yeah.
And that's how, like, I mean, that's a good example of like how like Nessie could have started. Like, one person, oh yeah, that happened, and then, oh well, someone may have admitted to something being a hoax, but people keep believing because
heard. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's definitely true that a lot of stories can definitely start that way.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
And sometimes you just want to believe it.
Yeah.
True. That's true too. But yeah, no, it's
I
It was
thought
just
it was
really interesting, and I thought that it was
Yeah.
interesting that he used sort of that as also like a counter argument for like why cryptids can't exist, is not why they can't, but why they don't, is
or
like
specifically the dinosaur type
the
ones.
dinosaur ones.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
is like being
Because
specific-
evolution.
Yeah, evolution, and that's
Or at
not
least time, whatever. Yeah.
but then it's like in a way then I feel bad for the cryptozoologists because they're trying to follow the ways of science and the scientific
Right.
process and prove that things are real, and then you have the people who don't believe necessarily in science going, oh yes, we believe this, and they're like, what's your agenda? So it's kind
Right.
of
Mhm.
I thought it was interesting, and it felt bad for cryptozoologists and the field itself. It was like, oh well, that's not helpful at all. But
Mhm.
Dinosaur Valley is a really cool place to go backpacking. So if you're in Texas,
Cool. Do you have
Go back.
videos on YouTube that we can watch and see what you did there?
not yet.
I've only seen one
have
so
one.
far.
That's the only one I've made so far. I have about 11 more to make.
Ooh.
We'll
One
get
for
there.
each month.
And Giancarlo Camping on YouTube.
Yes.
Yes.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
Yep.
That's cool. I do want to go backpacking there.
That would be fun. Yep, you got to go back one
Why?
because we didn't talk about those. Oh yeah, I guess we did. That was it.
That was it, yeah. I mean, the only other question in there was why does there have to be such a battle about believing
Oh,
science?
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
a good question too. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, I guess if you don't believe science is a real thing, like, I guess it's a good reason to battle it. But
And I think
Yeah.
it is worth noting, at least for me, I feel like it's worth noting that like science is a very broad term.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
I'm positive there are young Earth creationists who still believe in vaccines, for example.
Right.
And it's not like you're either all or nothing, basically. And
True.
science is big, and some things that a person might or might not believe in some category of science may harm others, and sometimes it may not. And I thought it was kind of interesting that he used the words like they're trying to usurp science or something.
Yeah.
I was like, really? Like, you really think they have that much power over like the truth will out? Like, usurp? Like, that's such a strong word.
Yeah,
It
that's
Like,
is,
are you
for sure.
feeling like, yeah, it was an interesting little addition, I thought. Like,
well, and the young Earth creationists are like such a small population. Of
They
people.
are.
I feel like that
Mhm.
it's
Right.
like, what
Yeah.
are they gonna do?
right.
Right. Well,
But if you're
one
watching
thing.
this young Earth creationist, I mean no disrespect. You have the right to
Yeah.
your own
Oh,
belief,
yeah.
but I
Right.
think you're wrong about evolution.
One thing, like Jurassic Park or The Lost World,
Mhm.
I can't remember if that was the book or the movie, where there's in the jungles of Africa on the top of some undiscovered mountaintop or something, and that there's all these prehistoric animals living there. And I don't know if that would even be possible anymore. But who's to say it's not, that there could be, but I don't think they would be like the dinosaurs aren't going to be out roaming. Sorry, I'm talking with my hands and I almost knocked my lamp over.
I always talk with my hands. How can you talk without talking with your hands?
I don't know.
Miranda does.
But I have
Angie,
to
you
try
don't
not
talk
to-
with your hands either. I guess
do,
I
but
got
it's
the
sort of
talking with the
hidden.
hands thing.
You're hidden
If
down
I
below
am-
the screen.
Oh, good.
if I am very passionate about sometimes the hands will start going, but otherwise, not usually.
I just have to
Usually
try
when
and
I'm
not
trying to explain something and failing, which is all the time, or when I'm passionate about something, which
Yes.
is the other part of the time.
Or I'm trying to
Sometimes it's both at the
describe.
same time.
Like, I'm saving it. I'm catching it and putting it into a nice bowl. Now you understand.
Oh, funny. Anyway.
All right. Mystery marsupials and other oddities.
Yeah.
So this was the chapter mostly about Australia, honestly.
Right.
I guess mostly probably because of the fact that of all the places that are left undiscovered in the world, Australia has a large portion which is uninhabited and
Right.
kind of wild. Also, they have like everything under the sun in Australia, so
That's odd compared to the rest of the world.
Yeah,
or dangerous
animals. Yeah, dangerous animals you don't find anywhere else.
Yeah,
They're
they have a
completely
very unique, yeah.
the ecosystem there.
Yeah.
So, in one of the examples in the book, there was a photo taken of the Ozinkadnook tiger by Rilla Martin in 1962. And in the picture, like it looked pretty clear, like for the most part. But even with a picture, like people are gonna be like, oh well, it's still because of X, Y, and Z, because she said it was running and then she was able to pull out her camera and take a picture. 1962 cameras weren't like they are now, and it would have been harder and stuff. But like, how much does a photo count towards evidence, like especially like then versus now? And like, do you think that it makes it more believable, less believable? What are your thoughts?
That's a good question.
It can be authenticated as being older and legit.
Original.
Like, possibly. Nowadays, no. There's too much Photoshop. I don't know.
Yep. That Tasmanian tiger I have seen on the right-hand side there at the bottom in the black and white pictures.
This
down one. Yep.
This one?
No, the Tasmanian tiger.
I'm just gonna type it in because I'm not sure what one you're talking about.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. I mean, and then that black and white picture there, that looks a lot. They thought it was extinct and they're pretty sure it is, but they had one in a zoo.
Yeah, this guy's
for a
touching
while.
one. He's got one in his arm.
Like the other thing.
It does.
It does. It looks like that.
So what is this is the picture, I think.
Yeah, that's the picture that they had in
So I think this one has like stripes. Sorry, it has stripes on the front and the tail looks thicker.
Yeah, right.
It was revealed as a hoax by whom?
Scientific American blogs.
I tend to believe Scientific American.
Like, so like the biggest thing is it's like we said with like when we were talking about Bigfoot too, like the video, like how it's usually like almost all of them are always blurry or whatever, or if they do get a good picture, then it's, oh, it must be a hoax because how would you get a good picture, you know?
Right.
And I think this kind of falls into the same kind of category as that, where it's like, okay, well, this is like not a bad picture. It's not like super clean. But the thing is too, is that she said that she didn't have the photo anymore.
Oh, she didn't have the negative, right?
Well, like once she had given it to the newspaper, the photo to the newspaper, she had never gotten it back, or it got lost or whatever. But the thing is too, is like, if you had a picture like this, like, sure, maybe you didn't know what it was, but you might not think anything of it and just be like, okay, well, this is something I didn't have. I thought it was pretty cool, so I took a picture of it.
Right.
But like after that point, like I don't think it's that surprising if you would just, you know, put it somewhere and it got lost. Like, that
It
to me,
happens.
it happens. Like,
Oh yeah. Some people even lose whole containers of photographs.
who would do such a thing?
I don't know.
Oh boy.
Yeah, no, it is a really good question. And I guess, yeah, the same thing was kind of with a video. It's like you almost have to have that like perfect balance between clear but not too clear, um, like believable reactions, and yeah, I don't know.
Right? It's just so hard
Yeah,
to tell. And it's like,
it is.
so you look at the intention of the people, and no matter what the intention is, they're going to gain fame. Because
Right.
something never,
Sometimes, but I don't know. People do say that they'll gain fame, but like
It
to
might
what
be
scope?
bad fame.
Not. It
Because
feels
like a
like
lot of
no.
people who mention their sightings or whatever, they don't usually they're not usually looked at with like
Respect.
Yes.
You're right.
It's a negative type of fame.
Right.
Right. People think that, it's more ridicule than anything else.
Right.
Like a lot of people, at least from who talk about their Sasquatch encounters or whatever, they always say like, I haven't told anyone this except for my wife, and like, or like, I haven't talked about this in 20 years and or whatever. It's just, yeah, I don't know.
And then it's always hard too when you have one person saying, I saw this.
Right.
Or
and then sometimes if it's like they're with a friend, sometimes like the friend is like, oh, it was just that. And like they don't want to have anything to do with it.
right.
So then you're
yeah.
basically on your own anyway.
Right.
Yeah, that's interesting. And especially the way photography, how easy it is to manipulate nowadays.
Mhm.
It makes you even wonder what you see on TV and things like that too.
For sure. And it's only going to get worse too.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys remember the old movie, The Running Man,
I've heard of it, but I don't think I saw it.
and it's got Arnold Schwarzenegger in it. But anyway, in one part he's a cop, and they manipulate the film of something that happened, not him, but like the TV station or whatever. And so he ends up being charged as a criminal because of what the amended film looks like. And, so it's just like, I don't know where I'm going with this. It's just so hard to know what is faked and what is real unless you're a part of it or you have a trusted a trusted source that you trust that will not be manipulating anything.
Yeah. Well, and with that too, like now that like all photography is pretty much digital,
Right.
there's not that negative to look at. There's not, all you have is the digital photo. And honestly, it's pretty easy to edit things. And people have gotten really good with it. And sure, sometimes people will make mistakes and you can figure out what they did wrong and you can be like, okay, yeah, that's a hoax. That's not right. But at the same time, I'm sure there's people that spend a lot of time and can easily make something look real and it's not.
Right. Yeah. And not to go back to Bigfoot, but we're going back to Bigfoot. But there is one guy, so, and I there, even, like, it's not like everyone in a community is like completely believable. And there's a lot of people who question Todd's standing in the Bigfoot realm. And he's one that is often on mainstream media, like History Channel and whatnot. Like he's made documentaries but he has like, he's got these pictures that are just kind of like they'd be good if they were real, and maybe they are real, but like there are just some things like this one in particular, people have gone over it with like, it looks kind of like his face, basically, like the geometry is just like his face.
Okay.
And I don't know, he's just kind of got this salesman personality where he's just everything is a Bigfoot. Like you hear, and he's like, you hear that? Now that's a Bigfoot. Like, and he's just kind of got that way of trying to make people think the way he's thinking about things, and he's just not as credible a source in.
Hey, that one is Harry the Henderson. Harry from Harry and the Hendersons. That one.
That one is real.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really good question though. It really is.
I like that weird one with the fuzzy face. Like,
Yeah. That one.
Like, what is that about?
I don't
It's
know.
creepy looking. It looks
The
like
mask?
it's that or like
Oh, this is the Todd standing.
Mm.
They put his face in there to show like how
Oh,
close
how
it
much
is.
it looks like him.
Mhm.
yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway.
But
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging out with us. Join the conversation in the comments below, and please be sure to say hello to us over on Twitter or Instagram. Remember, at 100 subs, we are doing a book giveaway. And at 200 subs, we are choosing a viewer-requested book. We'll see you in the next video. Until then, happy reading.